Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs and the Ruben Studders. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape. Every one of us, I was kinda late, cause I just made it off the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's great. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph Hardy is on the air. Had to drop a couple bars just to make you all aware. So, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. You know I go by Joe or the rest of the flow, yeah.
Hey y'all, welcome to a new episode of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with your girl Stephanie Hardy. Of course, if this isn't your first time listening, thank you for continuing on this journey with me over these past 5 years. We are still celebrating 5 years of HWP, so thank you for supporting the journey and the ride. And of course, if this is your first time listening or watching, thank you for joining on this Saturday evening. I know I was supposed to go live yesterday, but I was having some technical issues, so I had to basically start over, reboot some things, and figure some stuff out before I came on to you guys so I could watch and talk about everything that's going on in wrestling. And there's so much happening, but the basis of it is so many dreams are coming true. People are doing new things. People are growing new personalities on TV as we speak. And there are just so many roads that are leading to so many big events. And I just really wanted to come on here and discuss it. There's a lot even going on with me that's even changing as we speak. But of course, thank you guys so much for riding with me all this time and for being patient with me as well. So, of course, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Queen Steph Hardy on Instagram and Twitter. You can also listen to the show, the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, HWP Extra, and all other episodes I've done on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are getting close to 500 subscribers, so please, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and of course, ring the bell so you won't miss anything that happens with the channel. And also, just continue to follow. You can also follow the Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. I know I normally do that at the end, but I just wanted to do that at the beginning because there is some stuff at the end that I really want to discuss after I talk about what I liked in wrestling this week. But of course, as we continue on with the rest of this fabulous platform that I have before you, we are going to talk about the latest happenings in the world of professional wrestling and everything that's going viral in these wrestling streets, and that's news and gossipish. And the first story that I'm going to is the fact that NXT Stand and Deliver, which is essentially their WrestleMania equivalent of an event, is actually their time has been moved. So of course, with WrestleMania taking place in Las Vegas this year, there is still there's a bit of a time difference that's going to be a bit different. So of course, I live in Alabama. Shout out to 205. So our time zone is Central Time Zone, and of course, Atlanta Eastern, but whatever. But over there in Nevada and California and all those states over there, that is Pacific Time. And in the news, Stand and Deliver is actually being moved to 9:30 a.m. local time after it was previously advertised for 11:30 a.m. as the local time. And it's just Pretty interesting how it's going to start that early in the morning. It kind of reminded me of when I went to Los Angeles for WrestleMania 39 and how that show wound up being really early, and that was the earliest that I had ever been to a wrestling event in my entire life, because growing up, of course, when you go to wrestling events it's always at night. So the idea of waking up early in the morning to go see a wrestling show is just very different. That's usually around the time you wake up on a Saturday to eat your breakfast or like relax and watch TV or something, but you're waking up and you're going to a live wrestling show right before that, and then afterward you're going to another wrestling show, because WrestleMania weekend is just filled with so much stuff. So Stand and Deliver is going to be a little bit earlier, but of course if you're just watching it, it won't be super early for you. But so pray for those and send good energy and vibes to those like me who will be in Las Vegas, which I will talk about a little bit later, and getting to go and experience these things fairly early due to the time difference. So, either way, the show's going to be awesome, and I can't wait to see what else they have in store for that show, because NXT has just been batting for 1,000, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Another part of news and gossipish that I have to discuss that is near and dear to my heart. Y'all know I love my women's wrestling. So there is a report that was made by WrestleVotes and also via my friend Corey Hayes, who works at bodyslam.net, who I had the privilege of meeting in Chicago the night the CM Punk came back, made a report that WWE Evolution is set to finally return after a hiatus of close to almost, I believe, 4 years. Um, it happened, the first evolution, if you remember, happened in October of 2018. So actually, that's more than 5 years at this point, in Long Island, New York. And as of right now, it is the first and only evolution to take place. And of course, this was an all-female pay-per-view. It was the first ever all-women's pay-per-view that WWE ever held, and it was a beautiful card stacked from top to bottom. You had Nikki Bella going one on one with Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship. You had Becky Lynch going one on one with Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship and a last woman standing match, and so many other amazing highlights of that show. And it was just a beautiful show that a lot of women's wrestling fans have been pushing for since it happened. Like a lot of people like me were pushing for the idea of it becoming like an annual event like every other pay-per-view, like a big four. But it never happened because due to so many other reports and rumors of people saying that it would never sell out, it would never, nobody would think it would be that important, and the women are on the shows now that they wouldn't normally be on in terms of Saudi Arabia, so there's no point for it. But it can most definitely be argued that an evolution pay-per-view could very well be in the right place at the right time this year, seeing as there's been a huge hunger and an outcry for more women's main events, particularly when it comes to WrestleMania, because WrestleMania has not had a female main event since Bianca Belair and Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks. And of course, that made history as the first ever WrestleMania main event featuring two black women. And that was critically acclaimed. But since then, that was in 2021. WrestleMania has not had another female pay per view, even though the matches that the women have had would be an equivalent to a male pay per view. They just have not been placed there in that card. And so, in the midst of that outcry, I believe in evolution. Pay per view would sort of be a healing salve in that regard, because it's a card that's basically just all women. There aren't any men present aside from maybe commentary and maybe ring announcing. And it would just be refreshing to see. And then it's also a perfect time simply because the women's division on all shows is incredibly stacked between the women you have on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and then of course you have the partnership with TNA that NXT has. There are loads of women who could use that as an opportunity to send their careers into the stratosphere. And I am also of the notion that I feel like, wow, superheroes should be able to participate as well. Because if you're going to have an all female thing, include everybody and actually expand those partnerships. Have women and the women of WoW in it as well, because those women are so very talented and they would deserve that opportunity. And it would just be amazing to just include them, or even some women from NWA. Like, that would be amazing as well, too. So, if this is true, I hope that I'm there, and I hope that I can just cry and scream. Whether I'm there or not, I'm going to be happy that it's happening. But if I am there, I'm going to scream and cry, because evolution was just very important. And it was the wind in my sails for that entire week. It made me feel like I could conquer anything that week after at work. And I just felt just 10 times taller than I already am, due to the fact that I had watched all of these women like me just tear the house down when it came to wrestling. It was just such a beautiful event. And I also would love it if they had more female producers too, like with Empower and how Mickey James created that show, or curated and produced that show, like with Jazz and Medusa, and having Gail Kim within it too. Like, have female producers with it as well. Like, make it all female, not just from the in-ring perspective, but also behind the scenes too, and have the most brilliant women's wrestling minds working behind it too. So I hope it is true, and if that's the case, then make it an all-female affair on all accounts, because clearly with the world that we still live in, there's still so much that we have to do and so much that we have to conquer, even in the midst of us conquering so much other stuff. But I'm really pumped about it if it is true. Um, Also, yeah, if you're watching this show or listening, or watching it live right now, thank you. And also, if you want to chime in the comments, you feel free to do that as well, as I'm talking about certain things. So, yeah. Another part of news and gossipish is that last night we saw the debut of a new ring announcer. His name is Mark Nash, but in real life, his name is Mark Shunock. He is, or was, the host and ring announcer for Top Rank Boxing on ESPN. I don't know if he's going to be continuing in that capacity, but he's supposed to be full time from now on SmackDown, since Lillian Garcia stepped down. I guess her situation, or her position, was just temporary for now, or whatever. But he's on the show now, and he didn't necessarily, his voice took some getting used to, I'm not going to lie, because for the last couple of years it's been sort of mostly female, with the exception of Mike Rome, who's now on NXT. But he seemed to fit the vibe a little bit, and sort of adding a big fight feel to it with his voice, and it's going to take some getting used to, but he's pretty okay from my estimation. So congratulations to Mark Nash. Welcome aboard to our crazy world, and hopefully you'll find more of a groove with our wrestling people, because yeah, it's different, but it's going to be cool. So I'm here for it. Let's go. New voices. Woo! Also, we have Gail Kim, who was sadly on a list of people who had gotten released from TNA, but, and I don't have the names of the other two people who got released, but I'm sending vibes and love to them, good vibes to them right now. But Gail Kim definitely had a huge outcry on Twitter when news of her release came out, because Gail Kim, aside from having a WWE background, she also helped solidify the Knockouts division and what we know it to be today when it comes to TNA. So the idea that someone like her, who once served as a leader when it came to the women's division in TNA, would be let go in that way was just heartbreaking for a lot of people. There were a couple of TNA stars who tweeted and said that they just didn't know what was going on, like WTF and all of the above. So it really was a disappointing blow for a lot of people. But Gail Kim did release a statement on Instagram stating, quote, "Just wanted to say thank you to the fans, friends, and especially my peers for all the support you have given me over the last few days. I've received such an enormous amount of love, and it really has helped process this change for me. More than anything, I am grateful for all of the years and opportunities I was given to help build something I always dreamed of. The Knockouts division is and will always be my heart and all the women who are a part of it. Thanks to the incredibly hardworking and passionate TNA talent and crew that I have had the pleasure of working with. This will not end my passion or my love for wrestling, and this is not the end of Gail Kim in the wrestling world. You don't put in 17 years in one company and stop when you are this passionate. I look forward to sharing my journey and am taking some time for myself and prepare for what's ahead. Looking forward to the future, end quote. So I'm really pumped about it. Vaughn in the chat, thank you so much for watching. Hey, he said Gail Kim could go back to WWE. Yeah, like I mentioned, she would be an amazing mind to have when it comes to producing evolution or just producing women's matches going forward. She could train or like help teach in the performance center, really anything. Minds like hers and Mickey James's are minds that will never truly go to waste because they just are icons in the sport of women's wrestling. So I highly doubt, I'm so happy that she said that she's not ending her relationship with wrestling because she's put in so much work. And I'm glad that this, even though this is a change, that she's still processing, as all humans do. She's not giving up on it at all. And she's just trying to figure out what's next and what's the right way to do it. So whatever she decides, I'm here for it and I'll always support it because she will always have my heart on behalf of my 2000s fandom and also on behalf of the girl who saw her have that great moment with Awesome Kong after she retired from wrestling at NWA Empower. So yeah, big ups to Gail Kim. She's awesome and she deserves all the good things. Also in the news, I need to make this a little bit bigger so y'all can see, but BET, I don't know if you guys remember in my last in a few episodes ago where I talked about how BET started talking about wrestling or including wrestling content on their website, but they did another article because I actually mentioned on my show that I would love it if BET got more involved in talking about wrestling and including wrestling as a sport whenever they acknowledge athleticism with Black athletes. And they actually did something else, and I'm so happy that they did. They released an article, Brooklyn Ray, a writer, released an article talking about the evolution of Black storytelling in wrestling, and she interviewed the phenom Jazz, another amazing mind in women's professional wrestling and decorated champion, and one of the pillars of Black women in wrestling as a whole. Um, it was a really amazing read. I recommend that you guys read it. I was so happy to see that she was highlighted in this because, of course, she was also on that list that BET made of the top 15 Black wrestlers of all time. So the fact that they actually, wanted to single her out for her own piece is absolutely amazing. She deserves all of the praise and all of the recognition. She is someone who I really hope continues to get her flowers and also even gets inducted into the Hall of Fame if that's, how she wants to move forward with that. And just so many different things. Like, I just want her to know that she is so appreciated and so very much loved because growing up and seeing her you know, throw and toss Trish Stratus like a rag doll was just peak television for me back in the day. Just seeing her be highlighted in this way on such a platform like BET is just so amazing. So big ups to BET for including more wrestling content and hopefully they'll continue to do it. That would be really cool. So, yes, gotta love jazz and thank you BET for being awesome in that regard. It's awesome that you guys are doing that. Now, speaking of changes in women's wrestling, Saraya, who of course was formerly known as Paige in WWE, announced on her forthcoming podcast, Rule Breakers with Saraya, that she has officially parted ways with All Elite Wrestling AEW. Um, she explained her departure, at the first episode, and she said, quote, "I'm here to tell you that me and AEW's relationship has come to an end. I had an amazing time there. There's no bad blood between us. I had such a magical time." And She also said that she wanted to take a couple of months off for personal reasons, and then she got to thinking, what's left for her to do in wrestling right now? There's no storylines where I would fit. And she said that her departure had nothing to do with Tony Khan. I just think it's that I just don't fit in right now. And I feel like she might be, and she said she felt like she might be taking someone else's spot, someone who could be doing something really special. But she's focusing on herself a bit and putting energy into her podcast. And she also just released a book about her life called Hell on Heels, I believe is the name of it. So um that is pretty cool for the most part. But she said thank you to AEW and to the fans, um and said that, that she'll miss the girls' locker room and that she'll miss them, but don't be an effing stranger. You know where I am. So, yeah, Miss Ma'am is not with AEW anymore. But I thought I saw another place on another tweet where she might have said that, she enjoyed her time in WWE as well, and she might be open to returning there too. So you just never know what could happen. But considering Miss Soraya has had a movie made about her life, and now she's released a book about her life, and now she has a podcast. Um, she's not looking or fiending for things to do. But of course, wrestling is her first love. So I'm more than sure she'll find something else to get into. Here again, another great wrestling mind. Could be a producer somewhere or a teacher somewhere. You just never know. But Soraya was always one of my favorites when she first debuted, because I loved the whole anti-diva movement, and I loved watching her matches with Emma in NXT Black and Gold back in the day. So like I even had a sign made. My boyfriend drew a P sign for her for Paige, and I actually colored it in with the purple and stuff, only to take it to a SmackDown and she wasn't even on, but I was excited because it still got on television. But either way, I'm excited for what's next when it comes to her, because her story is definitely one of she's overcome a lot, but she is definitely one of a pioneer when it comes to wrestling in the new age and bringing the form of women's wrestling that we see now, forward. So big ups to Soraya for that. And also, in news and gossipish, we have a new category in the WWE Hall of Fame that's making its debut this year, and that's a WWE Immortal Moment, where a certain match or a certain moment will get inducted and honored at the Hall of Fame ceremony on the SmackDown the Friday before WrestleMania weekend. And the first moment that they chose was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart from WrestleMania 13. Now, this is where, if you've seen any of these clips, or depending on, where you are in your wrestling fandom, if you've seen this match, excuse me, this is where Bret Hart gave a sharpshooter to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he had blood just coming and gushing out of his forehead. That's the match, and that's the moment right there. So, essentially, this would be Stone Cold's, I think, second time getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and Bret Hart's maybe third, if not second. So yeah, this is amazing. I'm glad that they're including moments and matches, because there are so many within the history of WrestleMania, or even just when it comes to wrestling as a whole. So there are a lot of matches that could be put in. So I'm glad that Stone Cold and Bret Hart get to start this off. It's really cool. So I actually need to probably go back and watch that match myself, because something that I realized this week is that I don't really watch a lot of older matches like I should. Like, I really should just go back in time and just look at some things just so I can gain a better context of it, outside of clips and flashes that people might show, like in vignettes and stuff like that. Like, I need better context for things. So I think maybe I'll go back and watch this match. But either way, congratulations to Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart for this moment, this match that they created years ago, and it getting acknowledged now. It's cool. And finally, well, not finally, because I have one more thing to talk about. I'm sorry. The Weeknd continues his WrestleMania WrestleMania main event status by having his song with Playboy Cardi called Timeless being the official theme song for WrestleMania 41 in Vegas. Now, of course, if you have been watching WrestleMania over the past couple of years, almost all of his hit songs have been a theme song for the event. You've had Save Your Tears, you've had Gasoline, you've had you have Timeless Now, you have Less Than Zero, which is actually my personal favorite from 39 in LA. You even had I feel like I'm missing one, but he has had so many amazing songs of his um as a theme. So now that tradition is continuing. But what's so funny is we've never seen him actually at a WrestleMania. So with all the celebrities and stuff that keeps popping up on Monday Night Raw and so many other places, will we ever see him? Come on. Like, I know he's not called the Weekend per se professionally. He wants to be known as Abel by his real name, Abel Tesfaye. But honestly, I want him to be at a WrestleMania one good time because his music always has the presence there. So why can't we see him, or why can't we, have him do a performance if he feels like it, or something like that. So yeah, he keeps the chokehold on our wrestling community, and it's pretty interesting. I also want to give a shout out to Super Kick Studios. If you have not watched his videos on YouTube, he makes amazing wrestling content and wrestling essays. He actually did a video about the music and the nostalgia of WrestleMania theme songs. So please go back and look at those, because that video was amazing, and it was very um nostalgic to hear the evolution of the music of WrestleMania from back in the day all the way up until now. And it's just funny because you reach a point where it's just the weekend, the weekend, the weekend, the weekend. So I have no issue with it because I love his music as an artist. So yeah, I just want him to pop up one good time. So yay, big up to the weekend for having another theme song. It's great. Also, shout out to Travis Scott for Fiend, because I know for a minute since they announced WrestleMania was going to be in Vegas, all you heard was Fiend. But then they also got to a point where Fiend was being heard in other outlets outside of wrestling too. So it's just like you can't escape that song. So I don't know if that's the reason why they kind of changed it up a bit. But either way, I didn't mind Fiend, but you know, we're here and it's the weekend. It's weekend mania. It's his world and we're just living in it. So it's cool. And finally, in news and gossipish, we have Miss Mandy Sachs, of course, formerly known as Mandy Rose. And I have this picture of her up here in the context of, because it fits the context of what I'm talking about. So this week, in the celebration of Stephanie HWP, who is, of course, the NXT Women's and NXT Women's North American Champion currently, carrying both of those titles. Something on the internet that keeps popping up is that you're having people talk about how technically Mandy Rose was the first ever double champion in NXT because she had the NXT championship while also holding the NXT UK title. And I remember this because this was for NXT Worlds Collide, and this was a pay per view that I have talked about before that happened on my birthday a few years ago because this pay per view also had Carmelo Hayes versus Ricochet, which I did a special episode about. Mandy Rose competed in a match against Mako Satomura and I believe B Priestley, formerly known as Blair Davenport, and it was a triple threat to see who was going to win. It was basically a winner take all. And at this point, with the Worlds Collide theme, they were dropping the NXT UK part and just combining the titles together. So Braun Breaker, you know, won his NXT UK and NXT title for himself, and they combined those together. And then they combined the titles together for Mandy. Now, of course, Mandy would go on to pose provocatively in a beautiful picture of her in the sun, sunbathing, with both titles covering up her areas, just like Shawn Michaels did back in the day. Um, But after that, you didn't see her carrying both titles on television. So she was just known as the NXT Women's Champion. But in that regard, she would technically be undisputed. But in the midst of Stephanie Vacour, getting all the credit for being a double champion currently online, Mandy didn't take too kindly, and other fans didn't take too kindly to them sort of trying to, I guess, ignore her history as an NXT double champion. But scarily enough, there was a community note that someone used to correct Mandy saying, "No, ma'am, you actually weren't a double champion." And it was just really awkward. I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, this is so weird." Because by a lot of people's estimation, because she had those two titles, they feel like, "Oh, well, she was actually the first double champion." Or technically Saraya was, but then at the same time, they really weren't, because Saraya had to drop um Saraya had to drop the Divas, well, not the Divas Championship, the NXT Women's Championship, because she had made it to the main roster and she was serving as the Divas Champion. In the case of Mandy, her titles were combined and she was just essentially the undisputed NXT Women's Champion. And the NXT UK Women's Championship was defunct, which makes me sad because I actually have that. So, yeah, I just don't want people to get in the habit of so many arguments and so many things. It's just like I would really love it if we would just not crap on Stephanie's reigns right now, because she is doing something iconic, because she is the first, technically. By all accounts, she truly is the first, because every time we see her on NXT programming, she is carrying both titles and they acknowledge her as both, as the champions of both of those titles. And that's just real and that's just the truth of what's going on. But at the same time, I also feel like since Mandy does make appearances every now and again at wrestling shows or at wrestling conventions, if you really want to squabble about it, come back. Come back and shake some stuff up. Like if you really want to maintain dominance and or like reclaim your dominance that you once had as an NXT Women's Champion, go back, because I always felt that she should not have that they should not have fired her, number one. And number two, I always thought it would be amazing that she would come back, because the number of improvements that she made and then just her aura and her presence as an NXT Women's Champion, I actually enjoyed. So go back, make a challenge, shake some stuff up, girl. But it's her choice. But I did just want to come on here and address it because I saw it, ruffling feathers online, and I just wanted to discuss that. So I believe that's all for news and gossipish. And now we're going to go into what I liked in wrestling this week. And babe, it was a lot. So when it comes to Raw, of course, I'm gonna start with my girls. I feel like this whole news and gossipish was really all about the women, but hey, whatever. It's Women's History Month. Um, when it comes to the Intercontinental title, currently being held by Lyra Valkyria, she had a pretty good title defense against Raquel Rodriguez, even though I was scared she was going to lose it because Liv Morgan was out there. And, they've been on this goal to collect more titles because they just want to um, fix the Judgment Day's problems by winning. And I also think it's funny that the women are the only ones in the Judgment Day holding gold at this point. But in the midst of everything going on, Lyra retained the women's intercontinental title, but then she was getting jumped on by Liv and Raquel, which led Bailey to come out there and help her out. So as she was helping her out and she was lifting up the title to give to Lyra, it was almost like she was kind of reluctant to give it back to her, which makes me kind of feel like, oh, so Bailey, when are you gonna give your challenge to Lyra? Like, do you want to challenge for the title, or are we waiting for a certain last kicker to come back and, make it a triple threat, since we're doing triple threats this year for WrestleMania? Like, I'm wondering if that's gonna be the deal. But seeing Bailey wanting to challenge the new guard for this new title would be really interesting because we've only ever seen Bailey hold tag team gold and large singles gold. So to see her help solidify this newer title against someone like Lyra would be really cool. But here again, you have to wait and see. Um, but yeah, I'm here. I'm game for whatever this might be, could be in the future. Lyra versus Bailey would slap in Las Vegas. But here again, like I said, we have to wait and see about that. Also, when it came to the women, we have to address this situation with Bianca Belair, Io Sky, the women's world champion, and Rhea Ripley. Now, I know a lot of people have their feelings about how they feel like this should go. But we have to start at the beginning, right? Because when it came to Bianca winning the Elimination Chamber match, everybody in their mama online wanted it to be a clash of the Titans, a clash of the video game cover between Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, like they used to do in NXT. And it would be poetic, seeing as in 2021, they were the last two in the Royal Rumble that year, and Bianca won and went on, of course, to main event Mania and stuff. And it would have been amazing to see that clash of the Titans. But in the midst of this, you have Io Sky, who beat Rhea Ripley after she took her eye off the ball after getting mad at Bianca for just rooting for Io and stuff like that. And in the midst of that, since Io won the title, Rhea was frustrated, but then she wanted to sort of, you know, push her way through to get another title opportunity, never minding the fact that Bianca was there. It's making a lot of people upset. They really feel that um, either Rhea should not have um lost the title, or they really feel like she should just move out of the way and not just, bum rush her way or shoehorn her way in this. But it looks like she's not giving up on it. She signed her name on the contract even though that's not legal. Adam Pearce wasn't having it. So on Raw this week, he decided to put Rhea and Io in a rematch for the title since she wanted it so bad. And because Bianca does not like the way that Rhea's been acting with this title match that is absolutely positively hers because she earned it, she now has to be the special guest referee. And what's so funny is in this segment or afterward, Bianca was telling Adam, like, I don't know how to referee. And I'm sitting here like, girl, you're the EST. You can do anything. You're essentially Kim Possible and Penny Proud all wrapped up into one person. And you're telling me you can't learn how to ref? This was so funny to me. But I'm more than sure whatever outfit she chooses to wear, it's gonna be awesome. And I'm sure that somehow or another, hopefully she'll call it down the middle, or there might be some craziness going on and we might here again have another triple threat. I don't know. Everybody really thinks that a triple threat is going to happen between her, Io, and Rhea, but at the same time, WWE is in the business of just when you guys think you have the answers, we change the questions. So we're in a wait and see pattern. We got to see what's going to happen in London this week, but this entire segment really had everybody on their toes and in their feelings. And then on top of that, they keep disrespecting Io, who is the champion, for each other. And it almost scares me because I want Bianca to maintain her undefeated status at WrestleMania. But I low key feel like she's gonna get so mad at Rhea and Rhea's gonna get so mad at her that they're low key gonna cancel each other out. And it's just, I don't know. But even though I know that there really is no canceling a person out in a triple threat match because you don't have to be a part of the decision to lose. It's just the principle. These women are trying to fight each other. So I don't know. It's just gonna be nuts. But yeah, this was funny and we just gotta see how it's gonna unfold. Also, I love Bianca's outfit. It was great. Now when it comes to the men, Jesus, the men have been losing their minds. Now, I haven't had that much of a chance to fully talk about my deep feelings over John Cena breaking up with all of us, but let me just say that hearing John Cena say all of that stuff in Brussels, um, and talking about how nobody ever asked how he was feeling or about wanting to retire and all of the above, and basically giving his reasons as to why he turned his back on the people and gave up on everybody and stuff. And then, of course, with him breaking up with us, it was just very painful because he was just like, I'm breaking up with you because this relationship is toxic and da 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 da. And I'm sitting here like, how are you going to tell me this relationship is toxic when I, kid you not, I begged my dad to take me to see the Marine when it first came out. When I tell you I was an OG, loving John Cena, rapping, chain gang soldier, all of the above. That was me. I loved him down back then. My daddy could not stand John Cena. He would always call him a blockhead. And I was the one always keeping up with him, me and my sister. So he can't ever say that I wasn't ever on his side because if I because if I have to negotiate going to see one of your first movie at that with my dad who did not necessarily like him back in the day, then you can't say that. Like I was always a fan. Like me and my dad, like low key got into fights over whether or not I should be wearing chain gang soldier stuff because of what it actually means, but I didn't care because I was just like, no, it's John Cena. I want it. I want it. I just didn't care. Like little Stephanie did not give a D, okay, because she just wanted John Cena merch. We have all of his DVDs. Like it was real. The John Cena love was real, okay? So for him to just break up with us, it's just like, okay, sweetie, you're breaking up with us, but at the end of the day, you need us to sustain. So I guess one day you'll figure that out. But I'm not gonna sit here and wait and tweedle my thumbs and wait for you to figure it out. I'm just gonna let you learn it on your own because that's how G's we don't beg you to take us back. This is a life lesson. If somebody wants to break up with you, don't beg them to take you back. Let them go. Please. Just let them go. As somebody who's gone through that, don't beg nobody to love you. Please. Don't beg nobody to love you. Love yourself. Love yourself. So, in the midst of him talking about and sharing more of his feelings on Raw and talking about how he wants to ruin wrestling and all of the above, Cody Rhodes comes back out to face him and basically say, look, you're talking about taking the title away from the people and replacing it with a toy title, but you got to take the title from me first. You talking all this crap about taking the title away from the people who don't deserve it, but yet you got to take it from me. And I was just like, yes, tell him, Cody, let him know that you are the big boss. And then within the promo, John Cena was mentioning how, he was going to reach the number 17, that he's wanted for so long. So people would forget the name of Ric Flair. And I'm sitting here like, if we haven't forgotten the name of Ric Flair by now, then what in the world makes you think we're going to forget it after you win 17? And if you want to get technical, Ric Flair really won more than 17. I think 17 really is just 16 is really the number that they say, but he's won more than 16 times. But we're never forgetting Ric Flair. And we're also never forgetting his daughter because his daughter's right there too. So, sweetie, no, that's not going to happen. So Cody also rebutted this by saying, look, you know how hard I've had to fight to hold this championship just one time. And that really hit me in the heart right there because John Cena was chosen as the new big thing. And, he won the title and he worked hard and he won the title multiple times and stuff. And he's using 17 to be like, yeah, I'm better than y'all and I'm going to take it and be the real champion and blah, blah, blah. But then at the same time, you have people like Cody who had to go rebuild themselves after leaving to prove his worth as a star and then come back and hold that title even just once. And you want to sit here and talk about how you want to ruin wrestling for everybody with 17. Cody didn't like that at all. And then on top of that, when he said you want to ruin wrestling, okay, you want to ruin it, you're gonna have to go through me to do it. And Cody is a gangster here, and I love it because he is so passionate from an old school level about wrestling. And that's really the thing that I love about him the most. Like his heart beats and lives and breathes for wrestling. When it's not about his family, it's about wrestling. And that's what I love about him. I love that about him. So the fact that he is fighting for the soul of wrestling as a whole, while John Cena is fighting for self-aggrandizing glory, I love it. It's a great story and it's a great conflict. I love it, and I hope Cody beats him. I hope Cody defeats him so bad. Like, oh my God, I'm scared, but I hope Cody defeats him. Mark with Mikes, thank you for watching from Twitter saying self love is the best love. Absolutely. Now, yeah, so I really hope Cody beats him. I need it. I need it to happen. I need good to conquer evil, please. Conquer evil. But it's a lot of craziness going on, so you just never know. I believe also when it came to the men, let me see what else I liked. I love the fact that the Usos got back together. The Usos got back together. Michael Cole said on commentary that this was their first time tagging together in a year and a half. And this made my heart swell because this took me back. Even though when they first started as a tag team, they debuted with the beautiful colors and the haka, which gave me life. And I love their first theme song. I still listen to their first theme song like all the time. Like I'm so close now. Put on for the hometown. That is my song. So to see them grow from that to who they became with the Uso Penitentiary, and then, becoming the Usos in the bloodline, and then separating and becoming their own people, only for them to come back together in their greater forms at this point just blessed me in a very deep way because, of course, Jay was supposed to take on A Town Down Under, and he had a mystery tag partner. So everybody had these thoughts because they were in Scotland. So they were like, "Oh my God, what if it's Joe Hendry?" Now, mind you, if it was Joe Hendry, I would have popped and I probably would have lost my job. But I would have screamed. But it wasn't Joe Hendry. So when Jimmy snuck up out there, I was just like, "Oh my God, it's Jimmy!" And the fact that they were out there with their different outfits on, with their own personalities, but yet still acting like the crazy Usos we know them to be. It just healed my inner child. It really did. Like seriously, it did. And I'ma always have a soft spot in my heart for them. So they did go on to beat Team A Town Down Under, but of course the Gunter came out there and ruined the things because he can't let nobody be happy. But in response to that, um Jimmy told Jay, "Look, I'm gonna need for you to we're not getting to that yet. I'm gonna need for you to lock in because you slipping and falling against Gunter isn't gonna work." And it seems like on the episode they were really leaning into what people have been saying online about Jay. They really feel like how some people are just being overly critical of him, talking about how they feel like, oh, well, he's not ready for, this, and he shouldn't have won the Royal Rumble and all of this stuff. Like, it's really like depressing to watch these people down talk Jay for so long when it just seemed like just yesterday everybody was just bigging him up. Like, we really need to make our decisions and we need to make better decisions because I'm not going to sit here and trash somebody and make it seem like they don't deserve everything they worked for. Because this man worked his entire life and he probably didn't think he could be a solo person, but now he is. And they're letting him run with the ball regardless of what people have to say about it. And I know one thing, if he doesn't win against Gunther at WrestleMania, I am crying. I'm crying real tears. And after WrestleMania is over, I'm going to the nearest bar and I am just drinking everything. Not everything, but I'm just going to be so upset because what do you mean Jay is not the champion? So I'm gonna need for y'all to leave Jay Uso alone and just let him be. So Jimmy was telling him, look, this version of Jay can't beat Gunther, but I'm gonna need for you to lock in and become the right hand man Jay Uso, like the crash out Jay Uso that used to be in the bloodline during the pandemic that would just take out anybody. And he might be on to something. But I didn't expect him to be on to getting in Gunther's face either. This man got in Gunther's face and challenged him to a match on Raw. And and then of course Gunther insulted him. But in the midst of Gunther insulting him, this happened. The hardest slap, the world's hardest slap. I've That's like the hardest slap I have ever heard in my life. Jimmy slapped the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost out of that man for messing with his brother. Like, I don't know if y'all be on TikTok, but y'all hear that song from Mufasa the Lion King. You know, if you put your paws on my brother, I'm gonna lay down the law for my brother. That's Jimmy and Jay to a fault. And that's literally what happened. And he was just like, look, if you put your paws on my brother, you meet the jaws of my brother, and that's all of the above. Those are the rules for my brother. Let's go. I love them. I love them so, so much. So we gonna see how Monday goes, but I really feel like Gunther might take it too far. And because Gunther is gonna take it there, Jay is gonna take it further at WrestleMania. And that's something that he doesn't want to do. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I love this ride. Um, yeah, hold on. I just keep pressing the wrong buttons, guys. Forgive me. Um, so this was the part of Raw that I did not like. I know this is mostly talking about all the things I did like in wrestling, but I have to address this elephant. This made me feel pretty uncomfortable. Now, let me clarify. El Grande Americano as a concept with Chad Gable or not Chad Gable running around being a luchador after learning the secrets of lucha because he's a part of American Made and stuff, that's not the part that I find uncomfortable. The part that I did find uncomfortable, however, was them using Gulf of America in this old map that you know was generated by AI or whatever. That's the part that made me mad because um his I'm just going to address this the way that I address a lot of different things with the quote from Coming to America. His mama named him Gulf of Mexico. I'm going to call him Gulf of Mexico. And that's just the truth of the matter. I don't care who's in charge of what, it's the Gulf of Mexico. So this right here was kind of tone deaf, and it just feels really weird for a show and a company that has so many different people hired on from these different cultures, sort of leaning into the type of humor that only a group of people who would degrade those people of different cultures and just put it on TV for fun. I didn't like this at all. So if they want to find a way to make this funny, like find a way to make it funny, but leave ignorance and stuff that really just don't make no sense out of it. Please. Please, please, please leave it out of it. In every stretch of the imagination, leave yourself out of it. And I could go further, but I'm going to choose not to. But this did not have a place, and it will never have a place. So I just wanted to address that. Moving on, but there's no shade towards Chad Gable and the El Grande Americano thing because the first time I saw that, it made me laugh and it made me think of Mr. America. If you know, you know. Um, but the Gulf of America thing, y'all could have kept it. So moving on. When it comes to NXT and the women, I have to talk about the fact that I loved that NXT was bookended with women's matches. It started with Jada Parker versus Stephanie Vaquer for the NXT Women's title, and it ended with Stephanie Vaquer versus Fallon Henley for the NXT Women's North American title. And aside from wow, NXT highlights their women the absolute best. And I feel like everybody says this every week, but it just bears repeating because the idea that you can have women bookend a full scale wrestling show that's on for 2 hours and make it seamless and make it feel like it's just like breathing and natural. It's just absolutely fantastic. And it's futuristic and it fits where wrestling should be now. Um, I just love it. I just love the way that it's produced. And I loved, absolutely adored the match that Stephanie and Jada had. Um, this isn't, of course, the first time they fought each other. This is just the first time they fought, I believe, for the title. And Jada showed that she was game for Stephanie. But of course, because Jada pushed Jordan Grace out of the lineup for the titles, she didn't take too kindly to that, and that wound up costing Jada. So there's a part of me that wants to believe that at some point Jada could be either one of those champions with those titles. Um, but the line just keeps getting longer and longer for them. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But this match was really good, and I just love how it was just book ended with both of Stephanie's adventures with having to defend the title, with defending both of these championships, and then having to do it after being injured because Fatal Influence jumped Stephanie after the Jada Parker match, and she insisted upon fighting, and she still beat Fallon even though Fatal Influence was trying to cheat. So big step of Stephanie, you did that. Also, happy birthday to my second greatest fave, because girl, yeah, I could not believe that she was 32. I was just like, you're what? How old? Like, because I'm 31, so I'm just like, bruh, like she looks younger, but she's really 32, and I love that. So happy birthday to you, Miss Mamas, and I can't wait to see more of you and what you do in NXT and beyond. So then Jordan Grace got in her face as if to say that she wants to challenge her next. And I'm gagged because Jordan Grace is Jordan Grace. Like she is just the juggernaut. She is just like she just has this monstrous presence about her that just gives off like I'm gonna take everything you own and you're only gonna be left with tears. And it's just like I love her, but then I love Stephanie, and my heart is torn in two places. I don't know. But then afterward, you had everybody and their mama backstage, trying to get at Ava and say, "No, I want to be next in line. I want to be next in line. I want to be next in line." The women's division is on fire, and I love it. And Ava says she's gonna address it next week, so I can't wait to see how she addresses it. Like the boss lady she is, but baby, The NXT Women's Division is cooking, and I love it. And speaking of women's divisions cooking, I want the world for Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. In my opinion, they should have been allowed. I feel like they should have beaten Bianca and Naomi for the tag titles. Truly, like honestly, because even though they're getting involved, excuse me, with TNA and stuff, and that's amazing, I just feel like them walking around and winning as many matches as they did to get that opportunity only to lose that opportunity twice just doesn't sit well with me. They have evolved so much, and the idea of them not being champions right now just really bothers me. Like, I want so much more for them. Like, they deserve something. Like, I feel like if this year they decided to bring back like the women's Dusty Classic or something, tag team classic, they should be front runners to win it, honestly. Because them not being tag team champions feels so weird. And I feel like if the NXT women's tag team champions were still very much a thing, they could have had them by now. They really could have. But I'm just hoping that they continue to find their way. But honestly, they are so in sync as a tag team and they've grown so much that it just doesn't make any sense for them to be walking around NXT with no gold around their waist. It just doesn't make sense. So hopefully at some point that gets rectified. Maybe them winning the knockouts tag team titles would be cool. That would be amazing. That would be great. But just get some gold around Lash and Chikara, please, because it needs to be fixed. Because they're good. They're locked in. They're really locked in. So yeah. And yeah, I did talk about how all the ladies are jumping in line for the next opportunity at Stephanie HWP. But something that I did want to address is that a woman that's in this picture is Stevie Turner, who had been working as the assistant to Ava for a long time along with Robert Stone. So she was actually made the general manager. I think I have a picture of it. If I don't, then I'm sorry. She was made the general manager of WWE Evolve, and I think that's amazing for her. So, congrats to Stevie. I'm so happy that she got that chance. And I haven't had a chance to watch Evolve, so hopefully maybe at some point I will because it does look really intriguing and really good. So maybe I will give it a shot one of these days, but I am pumped that there are more women on screen in authority positions. This is amazing. I love it. So, yay, Stevie. That's cool. Then, on top of that, Ava also tweeted in response to people talking about her interaction with Paul Heyman a year ago, if not 2 years ago. And then she said, and she responded to said tweet saying, patience is a virtue. So, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean, y'all? What does it mean? Paul Heyman is crazy. He's crazy. He knows the bloodline. She's a part of said bloodline. She's the daughter of the final boss. God help us all. God help us all. But either way, they're gonna gag us, and I'm ready. I'm ready to be gagged. But yeah, another part of NXT that I really love when it comes to the men, it just is that it seems like Andre Chase is finding his way back. Because in his match, it really felt like he started the Chase U chant and he didn't finish it, but it really feels like he might be on his way back to us, and I need that in my life because Chase U was sort of like the shot of joy and the shot of kookiness that you needed for NXT, and the fact that it's been gone this long just feels wrong. Like it feels absolutely wrong. And I'm gonna need for Andre Chase to really bring the feeling back. Now, of course, I know Duke Hudson is sadly gone. But I miss Thea Hale. I miss Riley Osborne. Bring the feeling back. Bring Chase U back. And of course, those two other men who are in the tag team whose names I can't recall right now, charged in my head and not my heart. No dissing y'all. But they gonna bring Chase U back. And if he comes back and stand and deliver, I'm going to lose it because I love Chase U. I miss it so, so much. Bring back the joy. Bring back the kookiness because I need my CHASEU. What does that spell? Chase U. Bring it. Please bring it. I need it. And then you had to stand off here with Ricky Saints and the North American champion Shawn Spears. Now, Ricky Saints had an interview with Vic Joseph, and it gets interrupted by Shawn Spears because, of course, Shawn Spears wants to get in the head of Ricky. And since they had their little encounter, which was hilarious, um, last week. But the thing that made me upset was when Shawn told Ricky that he was going to expose him and said, "Look, if you can't make it here, then you could always go back to, oh, wait, you can't go back there because you burn every bridge that, you're on." And that made me so mad because, sir, were you not on that same bridge with him? Sean, don't be acting brand new just because you got you a new haircut and now you got you a faction and now you got you a title. Don't be brand new, boo. You were on that same bridge with him that you trying to talk about, like you trying to like run him down, say, "Oh, you don't belong here. You're an outsider, baby. You're an outsider." Even Ethan Page said the same thing, trying to make Ricky feel like he's an outsider. I'm like, did you not come from the same bridge that you claiming he burnt up? Who burnt the bridge first? Is the question. Seems like Ethan burnt it first. Sean burnt it second. Ricky burned it third. Why are y'all throwing shade at this man? Stop, okay? Y'all are just threatened by Ricky, and Ricky has always been that dude, even in AEW. So I'm gonna really need for y'all to chill. Y'all get off Ricky Saints. Get off Saint Ricky, okay? Cause he's that dude, and I can't wait to see him succeed. Even though he's fighting for the North American title Tuesday, I think I would have liked it better if they had waited till Stand and Deliver because watching Ricky get that top of a title would just do volumes for me. But when whatever they're doing, I'm fine. But Jesus, Ricky slap him, and I loved, and I just have to talk about it when Ricky told Izzy that he always measures up in the right places. That was so insane. That was so insane to me. I was like, hold up, Ricky, hold up, hold up, hold up. You, I always measure up in the right places. I can't. I just can't. I just can't. Ricky is iconic. Give him all the things. And then, of course, you have all of the drama that's happening between Javon Evans, Trick Williams, and Oba Femi, the NXT champion. I've seen a lot of theories online that people think that either Javon Evans or Trick Williams are the ones who are in charge of Downstate, or Dark State. I'm sorry, and that would be a nuts reveal if that's the case. But I just feel like they're just too busy fighting each other, for the title and for respect and so many other things that it's almost like Dark State is just watching them blow up in a chaotic way and they're getting off on it. Like this is the second week in a row where they pretended like they were gonna attack somebody at the end of the show and then they didn't and they watched people attack themselves. And I just wonder, who is their leader? Do they even have a leader? Or are they just running around like the shield, just tearing stuff up because they feel like they can? Like I'm just really interested in what their purpose is. And also, if this is the year that Stand and Deliver is going to be main evented by black men again, I'm going to be so thrilled. I'm going to be so thrilled because last year was main evented by Trick and Carmelo, and that was the first black male event during WrestleMania weekend. If this is the second, I'm buying a T-shirt. It's too late. It's not safe for anybody. I'll be so excited if that's the case because this is what wrestling is supposed to look like in 2025. It just is. So, yeah, Tricky done crashed out. Tricky is no longer Trick Willy Wonka. He is Trick Sour Patch. Obafemi is just the ruler that he always is. And he tried to kill Javon low key, but Javon rises above all things. So, and he bounces above all things. So, it's just gonna be a lit time, okay? And I just can't wait. I can't wait to see how this unfolds. But if it's unfolding in the way that I think it is, I'll be thrilled. So, yeah. I gotta get myself together. When I talk about Naomi and this segment from SmackDown last night, who who are we that we deserve this gifted woman? Who are we, really? Who have we been and who are we that we deserve this gifted woman who currently has a movie out, been through everything that she's gone through, only to come back and give us her gifts like this? Who are we? God just did his thing when he made her. And I just need y'all to really recognize the truth of what's happening here. Naomi is a veteran. She is a living legend right here and now. And the key to being a legend is not resting on your laurels and resting on all the things that you have done in your past and continuing to find ways to innovate into the future. This woman gave us two outstanding performances over the course of 3 weeks. And I just I just don't know what we've done and who we have been up to this point to deserve a talent like her. This woman got on SmackDown dressed up in caution tape jumpsuit costume thing and had on a necklace with a razor blade on it. That was really the part that scared me because I really thought she was going to cut somebody last night because she had on a necklace with a razor blade on it and she started talking about how she was being made to look like the bad guy in this situation when it came to attacking Jade, and how her and Bianca had been close, but yet and still Jade came out of nowhere and decided that she wanted to tag with you when I was here the whole time. And what's so crazy about it is that even though you didn't really see a lot of Bianca and Naomi's relationship on screen, there have been multiple pictures of them. The best moment that they've ever had on screen before all of this was when they were saving each other from being eliminated in the Royal Rumble in 2021 when Bianca won. They were on some sisterhood type of ish, and saved each other. And Naomi told her, "Look, we got to work together." And they worked together and lifted each other up. I'll never forget that for as long as I live. And after Bianca won, there were pictures of them hugging each other and moments where Bianca even mentioned that Naomi inspired her so much. And I never thought that that would ever come up on television, but it did here, and it was very potent. It was so potent, like, oh my God, like, and even there have been moments where people have caught behind the scene pictures of Bianca going one on one with Mercedes, and guess who was back there helping her with her gear? It was Naomi. So, by her estimation, she's very justified in how she attacked Jade. Even though it was funny how she said Jade came out of nowhere. I'm like, girl, she didn't come out of nowhere. Stop it. Like she was the first ever TBS champion. Don't do her like that. But and just took her place. And she said she was tired of being a third wheel, which was something that I thought about when I saw them hosting Bad Blood together. I was just like, it was so strange to see the visual of Bianca and Jade having the tag titles. And then you have Naomi there not holding a title. And then they invited her to come with them to host it, but didn't just automatically think that she would have been there with them as the big three. Like it was nuts. And I always wondered if it was ever gonna come up again. And it did. And ironically, it came just in time because this is the weekend. Today is the 1 year anniversary of them being together and pointing at the WrestleMania sign as the big three, which was also Jade's debut on SmackDown when she helped them against Damage Control. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss, the material was always there, but beautifully enough, the delivery was nuts. Naomi's hair was beautiful. Her facials were giving, her tears told spoke 1,000 words, and then her smile was chilling. It was almost like watching a Jordan Peele horror film. Naomi is everything, and I just don't know what we've done to deserve her. But my God, I just want to I bow to her. She is a queen. Um, she is a queen, and she deserves the world for what she gave us and what she's going to continue to give us because this wasn't the last time we saw her on SmackDown last night. She also attacked Michin and B-Fab because they were hanging out with Jade and saying that they were on her side, which was of course the crazy thing. And she told these people, you need to proceed with caution. So it's getting nuts. It's getting nuts. But then when Jade came out there to run after her, Naomi ran away. It's getting crazy. But I love it. Then in the midst of Jade helping B Fab, Charlotte came out there for her match with Michin, and they had their second stare off. And I'm just like, Lord Jesus. I just love any moment that these two get to look at each other because here again, it's a clash of the Titans. So I'm sure they'll see each other down the road. But right now, Jade has to get her Beatrix kiddo on and kill Naomi. Not actually kill, but beat Naomi. Kill Bill. Y'all get it. Quentin Tarantino. It's gonna be bad. Coming to a Peacock near you. Then, of course, you had Tiffany Stratton, the WWE Women's Champion, speaking her piece finally on how she felt about what Charlotte had to say. And everybody was dragging Tiffany last week because they felt like she really didn't get a word in edgewise against Charlotte, who is just so natural and so comfortable in her role as being a bad girl and basically just running down Tiffany, even though she is, here again, the champion. I feel like that's an interesting parallel. It's like you have Charlotte who sort of feels like she's standing head and shoulders above Tiffany, and then you got Bianca and Rhea who feel like they just want to fight each other, but then they're overlooking Io Sky. It's like the women who are holding the titles are being overlooked. It's nuts. But Tiffany basically said that, even though people might underestimate her and think that she's just a rookie, she's going to come out on top at WrestleMania and it'll be Tiffy time. And I think one of the things that other people have noticed and I've noticed too is just the fact that Tiffany, when she first started in NXT 2.0 and NXT as we know it now, um, her character was mostly based on being a mean girl, like a Sharpay Evans from High School Musical or like a Regina George from Mean Girls. And the fact that she's going up against someone like Charlotte, who was initially supposed to be a good girl, but then she shifted over to being a heel because the fans were booing her, even though I didn't boo her because I was happy she was back. And I didn't, and I was okay with the fact that she won the Royal Rumble. It's like Tiffany's never been a baby face before. She's never been a good guy before. And now she has to find her identity not only as this new champion, but also going up against a four horsewoman and also with a level of her personality that has not been reached just yet. And I feel like we just need to give her some time. We need to give her some time and give her some grace. Okay. Give Tiffany Stratton some grace. Not too much on my girl. So, yeah, let's just chill. And I'm more than sure that the match is going to be fire regardless. So let's just give her some grace. Grace, guys. Grace. Then also when it comes to the women on SmackDown, you had Zelina Vega and the return of Team KC Squared, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, getting in the faces of Chelsea Green, the Women's United States Champion, and the Secret Hervis. And something that I appreciate about this is the fact that Zelina immediately came to the conclusion that she does need some backup because these women jumped the crap out of her last week and it wasn't fair. So I'm glad that Team Casey Squared actually came to her rescue and wanted to help her out in that regard. And it was just really good to see them because they have been gone for so long. And this is one of my favorite women's tag teams ever. So anytime I get to see them, I'm never bored because they're just so creative as a tag team and they actually deserve a whole lot more screen time and credit than they have been given, or really they just deserve a little bit more. So I was happy to see Team Casey Squared. And I never get tired of seeing the Secret Hervis because it's just really cute and I just feel like this is the campiness that television deserves. I Looking at Chelsea Green and her Secret Hervis, this low key felt like something that I would see on WoW. And it low key made me feel like, bro, what if Chelsea Green and Abilene Maverick had a match? Or what if Chelsea Green and her Secret Hervis had a match with the Fab Four with Penelope Pink and Miami Sweet Heat? Like that would be absolutely nuts. Please give me a WWE and WoW crossover before I turn 40. But anyway, um I just love them. I love seeing them leaning into this. It's just so amazing. And then it's amazing too, because when you really think about it, I've never seen women be a part of the Secret Service before. So I think this is clever. Now, moving on to the men, however, Carmelo Hayes, y'all know I love, love me some Carmelo Hayes. From his days in NXT to him becoming a friend of the pod, all of the things. I love him so much. He is one of my deepest faves from NXT 2.0 era. But the fact that he was standing with the Miz and jaw jacking at Jimmy Uso and telling him how you gonna hate from outside the club and you can't even get in. Tell me why in my mind after he said that I was just like, Carmelo, I love you, but you're outside of the club too. You're shading Jimmy for not being on the same singles level as his brother, but I mean, I know it's not technically his fault, but he's not in the line either. And I'm just gonna need for Carmelo to actually get in the line because I just want so much more for him. He's so talented. He just had that great match with Randy Orton. It's like he's great on the microphone. He has an amazing look. Like, what is it? What is it? Like, what more does this man have to have? And what purpose is sticking him with the Miz going to be? No shade to the Miz because I love him down and I respect him and everything he's ever done in his wrestling career because people tried to undermine him a lot. But I just want to know what is the deal with Carmelo Hayes being placed with the Miz like this? I understand Miz don't miss is cute, but for Carmelo to have been as decorated as he was in NXT and to be brought up and called up to the main roster with contemporaries like Tiffany Stratton and Braun Breaker, and you only have those two who have won gold and have been hot shotted to the top, and Carmelo Hayes hasn't, is a problem. It's just a huge problem for me. I just want Carmelo Hayes to get his things. And I understand you have to be patient with some things, but at the same time, Carmelo is a star. And I don't know I don't know. Maybe I have to knock on the door and just be like, yo, I need to talk. But Carmelo deserves the world. And he doesn't need to be outside of the club. He needs to be sitting in VIP. He doesn't even need to just be sitting at the bar. Put Carmelo in VIP. He needs to be in VIP status now. Please. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. Give Carmelo his thing. Like, because by all accounts, I really don't feel like, even though I know Jacob Fatu is going to try to go after the U.S. title, and Braun Strowman tried to go after the U.S. title, it should be Carmelo's time to go after that title. I want him to be on the WrestleMania card, but if he's not, I want him to at least have a chance at the U.S. title at some point. Please, just give him something. But yeah, I love you, Carmelo. I love you, but you got to get from outside of the club yourself, please, Jacob. I love Jacob Down though. I love him so much. It's so funny. Somebody posted, I think it was USA Network, posted a picture saying which bloodline member would you sit next to? And I actually said I would sit next to Jacob Fatu because I would love to talk to him and figure some stuff out. Because sometimes you really do have to talk to people who you might not have a whole lot in common with and just see how they see life. And I know Jacob has been through a lot of stuff. And I wouldn't mind listening to him talk about that stuff, because he really has made a great name for himself and a life for himself. And I just don't feel like he would hurt me. I know he would hurt everybody else, but he wouldn't hurt me. So I just know like Jacob is amazing. And every time he comes on TV, that's when you know business is about to pick up. And he destroyed everybody on SmackDown. And I never get tired of watching him destroy everybody. So yeah, Jacob is life. Jacob is love. And then Ray Phoenix, they showed a card for Ray Phoenix. He is making his debut on SmackDown. And I'm excited about this because a part of me low key thought if this was true, I thought maybe they would put him on Raw with Penta, but it looks like they're separating them for now, and I'm not mad about that. So, and then it's also good that they're separating them because they have the LWO over there and so many others. So I feel like Ray Phoenix on SmackDown would be very refreshing. I low key feel like having him on SmackDown would bring back the feeling of what SmackDown used to be in the 2000s when they used to have the cruiserweights on there. I feel like that's what Ray would bring back. Would you imagine a match between Ray Phoenix and Carmelo Hayes? My brain hurts just thinking about it. It would be amazing. Or Ray Phoenix versus Andrade. Like, what? I'm going to pass out. But I'm happy he's coming. So, It's good. Then you had Damian Priest get his lick back on Drew McIntyre after he thought he was gonna go drinking with Louis Capaldi, who I was very surprised to find out was a wrestling fan. I was like, okay, Louis, I see you at the wrestling show and stuff. I like it. And then the way that Damian Priest popped up on Drew after he opened the door was like something out of a Looney Tunes special, where it's like a cartoon will open the door and then they know they're in danger and then they close the door right back. Except Drew didn't close the door right back. He kept it open and got his tail whooped and crashed in the windshield. It was hilarious. I love the crap out of it. So I'm gonna need for these two to be in a parking lot brawl. I know it's been a minute since we've seen one of those, but if these two can take it back to the 2000s one good time and do a parking lot brawl, then I would be happy because I really did enjoy the time John Cena and Eddie Guerrero, rest his soul, had a parking lot brawl and they had it in Birmingham at the BJCC, well at Lexi Arena, and it was one of the craziest matches I had ever seen in my life. You had all the cars like parked in a circle, and they were just destroying each other on top of the cars. So if they want to switch it up and do something fun, put Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a parking lot brawl. They don't have to do that, but if they did it, I would be lit. So yeah, that was interesting. But then we got to this contract signing with Roman, Seth, and CM Punk. And I have a lot to say about this. Roman came in the ring and thought he was just going to sign the contract and go, right? And and of course, he had his big old entrance, where he takes forever in a day and takes his sweet time doing his slow saunter to the ring. And he signs the contract, right? So he's like, okay, well, I did what I was supposed to do. So bye. But before he could say bye, Seth Rollins comes out and everybody's excited about it. Seth Rollins gets on the microphone and starts talking to Roman and talking about since they're in London and at the O2 Arena. He said that they had some great memories in the O2 Arena, how they came in as the Shield, um, with like on a helicopter, and how they attacked the Undertaker, um, at the O2 Arena and everything, and how we revolutionized wrestling. But then Roman Reigns didn't take too kindly to that. He was like, "We." He hit him with a Dr. Phil. We. How could you say we? Like we died a long time ago. Okay. You didn't do anything. You didn't carry WWE on your back. I did. And he wasn't entirely wrong about that because when you think about the trajectory that WWE has been on over these past 5 years, he's been at the center of it. Now, mind you, there have been other players, but Roman has been at the center of it for a long, long time. And he spoke nothing but facts there and stuff like that. But Seth told him, it's because of your I mindset that I have to keep screwing you over every time because you always think it's just you. And because you were so busy thinking about it being just you let a snake into our garden. And he was talking about CM Punk because here again, Seth can't let go of that beef with CM Punk. You let that snake back into our garden, and now I have to clean up the mess that you made because you could have let me beat him up at Madison Square Garden in that steel cage match, but you didn't. You snatched me out of the cage and all of the above. So that's where his part ended, and CM Punk comes out. Now, of course, this added some more minutes to it because the people in London were singing the theme songs. And I love it because if you gonna sing, sing, do the thing. I love it because if I were there, I'd be singing too. That's just me. So CM Punk comes out there and he says that, he came to chew bubble gum and sign a contract, and I'm all out of bubble gum. So, of course, quoting Roddy Piper, and so he signs the contract. But before he signs it, he's reading it, right? And Roman is trying to rush him. He's just like, "Do you not know how this works? Go to page 4, clause 5." And so he goes to the clause or whatever, and he's still reading it. He was just like, Paul Heyman smartened him up. And this made me mad because I'm sitting here like, first of all, any smart person would read something before they put their name on it. I said that out loud. Like, before you sign your name to anything, you need to read it first. Because what if you find something you really don't agree with that you've signed your name to? And then once it gets to cracking and everything, you realize you don't like it. But then they'll say, oh, but you signed your name here saying you were. No, you read first. CM Punk is smart. So Roman Reigns sends Paul over there. It was so funny as Roman was like, just smart him up and so we can move this along. This is a TV show. And I'm just saying, like, you're saying it's a TV show, but yet you take your sweet time getting to the ring every time you touch it. But whatever. Paul told him, look, I know what you're looking for. And it's all there. It's there. And then CM Punk looked at him like, what do you mean? And he grabbed him by his shoulder and Paul told him, it's official. You are closing the show at WrestleMania. He said, CM Punk, you are going to be a WrestleMania main eventer. And everybody started cheering. Paul Heyman kissed him on the forehead. And CM Punk, in probably the deepest show of emotion we've ever seen from him, outside of his returns and stuff, especially the one with AEW, he starts crying. He starts crying. And when he started crying, I was so happy for him, but I had to really think about it. Like, he said that this was his dream. Main event to WrestleMania was his dream since he was a child. And because of the past regime, it's like they would use him and utilize him to move a lot of merchandise and move a lot of viewership and all. But they didn't see him the way that he saw himself as a top talent. And there were times where he was screwed over for other main events because people argue to this day that he should have main evented WrestleMania 29 and not the second Cena and Rock match. And which was one of the catalysts for him leaving. It's just he had to fight through a lot to get to this point. And it's beautiful when you realize you're watching somebody's dreams come true in real time. So he's main event to WrestleMania night one. And then after he realized it, he signed it. He thanked Chicago. He thanked London. He thanked the fans who kept chanting his name. Seth Rollins was crashing out. Roman Reigns didn't like it. I low-key wish they had just let the moment breathe instead of just talking over it. But, stuff happens. But then, in the midst of this, CM Punk tells Roman that that wasn't the favor that he asked of Paul, and they left that as a cliffhanger. So I'm just like, Jesus help. What are we gonna do? What are we going to do? And that's all I liked in wrestling this week. So, thank you guys so much for watching the show, listening to the show. Um, I'm going to address a lot of new things, but to make it clear, I am planning to go to Wrestlemania in Las Vegas because I've been accepted for media for the first time. So CM Punk's dreams aren't the only dreams that are out here coming true. Um, and I'm also hopefully shifting into more content with the UFL, particularly towards the Birmingham Stallions, because that's my team. And I'm just really happy. But I'll talk more about it at a later date. So thank you guys so much for listening to and watching the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Um, Share, like, and subscribe everything as it comes out. And I just hope to continue to give you guys the best wrestling content from me. Until next time, bye, y'all.